This is James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Welcome to a more civilized podcast. This is the podcast you're looking for. You may not go about your business. Stay here, listen, and then move along.
Hello, listeners. For the final time, it's Kyler.
And Chris.
And Ross.
Because he fired us.
Sure did.
Anyway,
heretofore this will no longer be a more civilized podcast. It will be the Ross Show.
Yep.
Okay, the barren wastelands of Newsy News.
The Newsy News Show.
Well, then that makes this also the final episode of the Ross Show. We're closing 2 podcasts.
Woo!
Dang.
Man, we're efficient.
That's
We
right.
should get some more in.
Oh, man, the voice you just heard from the great beyond was our official fact checker, Steven.
Hey, Steven.
And also in chat we have...
Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, from way back at the very beginning of the show.
Very nearly.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty early, wasn't it?
Early days, yeah.
So like 20-something. Anyway.
I
he
think
did
it was
our...
31.
Ah, there we go.
There we
Ryan
go.
knows.
Yeah, I wanted to say 22, but...
Spreading out the fact-checking this episode.
There you go. But yeah, it's a great episode on droids and
It was excellent.
robots and cyborgs. So yeah, go back and listen to it if you want to know more about
As
that.
the hashtag Droid Lives Matter
Yeah,
episode.
Droids Lives Matter. Yeah. Good times. Anyway, Ross, we have some brief news-ish. I mean, it's all disorganized because it's the last show. Who gives a crap?
See,
Uh,
I know I wasn't the most studious on the news throughout the
Well,
podcast,
it's okay.
but like, you told me 5 minutes ago we didn't have a set list, man.
we didn't have a set list, but we're just, we're working.
We can still do some newsy news.
Well, okay, while
So
I pull
we've
it up
got
off the top of my head, the newsiest news.
We've got Tamura Morrison coming back to play Boba Fett in Mandalorian Season 2. I am happy to see him playing Boba Fett.
Yep. I applaud
Not
that casting.
necessarily excited about Boba Fett being in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I liked that Mandalorian sort of took a step back from the main characters we know in Star Wars and was telling its own thing. And with Boba Fett coming in and with Ahsoka coming in, both castings of those characters were on point, I think.
Excellent.
But I am nervous that there's going to be a lot of fan service in Season 2.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't...
Sorry to interrupt, but
No,
I saw
please.
a report today saying that Tamura Morrison also thinks there's too much fan service going on.
Oh, wow.
You're not alone in that sentiment.
Well, hopefully that bodes well then.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, Ahsoka in Rebels was fine. Like,
Yeah.
she was used very well, and, I had no problem there. But, Lando, I mentioned earlier, was not used well in Rebels. I felt like every time Lando was on screen was just cringeworthy. And, that happens a lot when you bring in characters that fans already know. They tend to dominate the show, and storytelling and character all take a back seat. And when your storytelling and character are already weak to begin with, that doesn't really bode well for what'll happen when you bring in more familiar characters.
Yep.
But hey, I hope I'm wrong.
Other news,
We had a recent confirmation that
yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order is going to be a full series, surprising absolutely no one.
We had a confirmation that Taika Waititi is going to be writing and directing a Star Wars film.
show, so that is intriguing to me.
Co-writing with someone whose name I don't remember, but good for her. That
Star
one
Wars.
intrigues
Oh,
me, yeah.
that's one thing we're definitely going to talk about. Star Wars, Clone Wars season finale. That whole Mandalorian arc.
Did you end up
we're going to
watching
talk
it,
about
Chris?
that later.
Oh no!
No, he's.
I don't skip around, and I'm still working my way through season 5 now, so I'll get there next year.
Season 5 is good.
Yep.
Has some good stuff in it.
I don't know. I'm looking down the barrel of some R2 centered episodes.
Oh
and
yeah,
I don't know about that.
Okay, so that whole arc is terrible and also pointless.
Yep. I just figured I'll probably put those on while I play like Minecraft in the background or something.
Do it. Because
That's what I did with the last
only piece of
droid-centered
information that is relevant to literally anything else, and it's only barely relevant, is that you meet a clone named Gregor who got stranded on that planet after a battle, and they thought he was dead.
yeah.
And so then he heals up on that planet but has amnesia and can't remember. And then he shows up in Rebels as one of the 3 clones.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Gregor. Well, that's the only thing that matters in that entire 4-episode arc.
Well, all right then.
it's very pointless. I don't really like that episode arc. It feels very much like one of those weird, like, we're going to try something new in season 1 episodes, and then it doesn't work, so we never do it again, only somehow it ended up in season 5.
Yeah, I feel like they probably had some sort of contractual obligation to feature the droids in a certain amount of starring roles in episodes. Same with Jar Jar. It's just like, remember, this is for the kids, so you got to delve back into that occasionally.
But all the other stuff in season 5 is really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of that. That looks great. And, I already know most of the story, so it's just been skipping through all the episodes, looking at the thumbnails on Disney Plus and being like, oh, okay, that's that episode. That's okay. Yeah. Okay, that's where I'm going. Cool. I'm going to watch Darth Maul get his murder on.
Yep. It's pretty good. Oh, man. Has Dooku already, gone and butchered all the Night Sisters?
Yes, that was the end of season 4.
That's what I thought, season 4. Okay. Yeah, good times. That's a good one.
Love butchering Night Sisters.
Yep. I love a good butchery in Star Wars.
It's true. Night Sisters, droids, Geonosians, younglings.
Yeah. And not just the men, the women and children
too.
Yeah. Yep. I love all kinds of butchery. Alrighty. Oh, man. Any other news that we can think of off the top of our heads?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give you time to go through the rest of your head if you want. But...
Well, hey. Thanks.
Sorry, just the way you said that made it. I'm just like, oh, all right, go ahead then. We got time.
Okay.
I don't need to stop anywhere.
Ryan and Steven, have you guys seen Clone Wars season finale for 7? I know Steven has. Ryan, have you?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Well, let's go into that, and Ross can interrupt us with more news later.
More newsy news.
Stop. Nope, just news.
Nope.
Just the Star Wars.
If Ross is interrupting you with it, it is newsy news.
Oh, it's regular news.
So,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you there, Steven. Go ahead, Kylie.
Ryan, what did you think of season 7 of Clone Wars?
I didn't really care too much for the oddball crew, the 99.
Oh yeah, the Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch, yeah. I mean, it was okay. It was just kind of average, but I really liked that last story arc with Ahsoka during the time of Order 66. That was excellent. So
absolutely. Steven, what about you?
Similar feelings. The Bad Batch was okay, but I think most of my unenjoyment from that was just the fact that I already knew what would happen because of the spoiled story reels from when they thought they wouldn't be able to do it. And then Ahsoka's Walkabout was okay. Like, it had Ahsoka in it, but I wasn't that hooked on it. But then, the last arc, the whole Siege of Mandalore arc, that whole arc was great, and everything about that was really good.
Yeah. That's kind of where I landed with that. The Ahsoka arc had a couple of really good moments in it, where Ahsoka is, seeing how the Jedi and the war have affected the common man, and that the Jedi have sort of let people down because they're self-righteous basically at this point, and that they need to kind of get off that and focus on the people who really need them. And those couple moments that we got were really good, but I thought 4 episodes was maybe a bit long. I think they could have cut it down to 3 episodes, and it would have been a pretty tight story at that point. Because they spend an entire episode breaking out of jail just to end up in jail again. And I'm like, this feels a little bit pointless. I'm not sure where I would have given that extra episode, because I don't think the Bad Batch needed it. I think the Bad Batch could have been 3 episodes also. And I would not have stretched the Mandalore episode into a 5th episode.
It's not like they have to have a certain number, though. I mean,
because the 4 episodes was, I think it was the right pacing for
to make sure we have the right amount of programming for our time slot on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they could have then added in a little 2-episode arc of something. I mean, trim.
But they could have given us an R2 and 3PO.
Yeah, they could, and throw some Jar Jar in there for good measure. That would have been interesting, or I don't know, or another episode. I guess they could have done another episode on the end of the Mandalore arc where you show more clones than just the 332nd.
They should have given us
But-
an episode of Jar Jar like being celebrated as the person who brought forward the
Yeah.
proposal to create the empire,
Uh-huh.
and then him slowly descending into like drunken depression as he
Yeah.
realized that he's the
But
one
it
who
would
brought
have been
this all
interesting
about.
to see like Wolf, and how he took Order 66.
Yeah, because we know he
Yeah.
survived, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, like, it would have been interesting to see a little bit of that. I think they did. It was beautiful the way they ended it. The Mandalore arc was just gorgeous.
Chef's kiss. Mwah.
It really was. A
assume.
lot of visual cues that tied in beautifully with Episode 3. I mean, there was the actual shots of Episode 3 that they just 3D'd, with, like, Ayla Secura and Plo Koon
Yeah.
flying and stuff to be like, oh, it's here, guys, Okay, so, like, those were beautiful as well, but, like, when the glass breaks with Anakin, or with Ahsoka and Maul, that times up with the glass breaking with Windu and Darth Sidious.
Oh, does it really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, that is a beautiful, like, kind of the heartbeat syncing up a little bit,
Yeah.
It's just, and that whole fight, Ahsoka and Maul, was gorgeous. It is probably my favorite lightsaber fight in the whole of Star Wars. It's incredible.
It's decent. I mean, this would be a future episode.
You
I'm
all,
gonna slap
you
your
all
face.
should be very sad that you can't see Kyler's face right now.
It's, what do you mean it was decent? Which other one was better?
Well, when you say all of Star Wars,
Yeah, Ross. No, okay, so, like, just give me your top 3, right? Because, like, Duel of the Fates obviously is gorgeous as a lightsaber fight, just for, not for lightsaber technique,
I know.
fencing technique,
Well,
but
actually,
just,
because the regular,
yeah.
the episode 1 Duel of the Fates is probably the worst
Yeah,
as
I
far
know.
as technique goes.
but it looks
whatever.
really cool, you know what I mean? For a lightsaber fight, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
And that's one, and the Duel of the Greats from episode 3. What is it?
Battle of the Heroes.
Battle of the Heroes,
Um, That one
one is
would probably
really cool.
be my number 1.
But not for me. I think it beats even that one. It's so cool.
It was funny because I was watching a couple saber fights today. Actually, I also really enjoy the kind of mass battle in Rebels with Kanan and Ezra and Maul versus the Inquisitors and Ahsoka, and is in there as well.
In season 2.
Yeah, wherever it is. But I mean, it was that one's a good fight.
It is a good fight, but it is so beautiful seeing Ahsoka's double versus Maul's double. And the fact that so this was really cool. I didn't realize, or I knew it beforehand, and then I forgot by the time I watched the episode that they actually did mocap on Ray Park and whoever was mocapping Ahsoka.
Yeah, I forgot her name.
Doesn't matter. It's not Ray Park.
It's not Ashley Eckstein.
It's not Ashley Eckstein. Who cares? But I remember watching the episode, having forgotten this, and I was just like, his motions are so fluid. Like, when he lands after doing, like, a little kick flippy thing, like, his legs are compressing just beautifully. Like, it looks so real. This is amazing, and it's Ray Park doing Darth Maul. It's so beautiful and cool. I love this fight.
Yeah,
This is easily a top 3 fight for me. Probably, yeah, I mean, it's number 1 for me.
I would for sure give it a top 5. I don't know if it takes that 3 spot for me though.
It's gorgeous.
And one thing I did notice, I mean, I don't know if they were just trying to be physically accurate or if it was a nod to Solo, but when Maul gets thrown out the window, and did you notice how it makes, so where Maul's body was is a nice round circle, and where his lightsaber goes through is that line?
Yeah,
That's kind
so
of the
funny.
base of his whatever Sons, his criminal organization.
Yeah,
that logo.
the Fetch.
Crimson
yeah, I
Sun.
know. Crimson Dawn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what the lady draws in the dirt
Uh-huh.
on that mirror. It becomes that same little symbol. I was just like,
I did not notice. I didn't make that
that-
connection. I mean, I
is
noticed
that
the
not-
hole, but I
I'm
didn't.
not sure, but
That's
maybe.
interesting.
But
Yeah, that's cool. Man, that's really cool.
yeah,
I want Darth Maul in Legion so bad. Oh, that's a rumor. Steven, did you hear that? Did you hear about that rumor?
I did
from
hear
Legion?
that. Did you hear that,
I did
Ross?
hear that too.
Steven, did you hear about that rumor, though? That Maul and Anakin are
What kind of
coming
rumor
out?
was it, Kyler?
Just a regular rumor.
No,
I don't think it was.
I'm pretty sure earlier you just said rumor.
There we go.
That's right.
Influence.
Shut up, Ryan. Nobody asked you.
But no, I hadn't heard it. With everything going on and how everything slowed down, like I haven't kept up. Like I haven't seen any news or kept up with any news with like more stuff coming out for Luigi.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked just a couple days ago because it had been a while for me too, for the exact same reasons. And somebody was like, "Oh, there's a rumor from the same people that leaked everything, from the French that leaked everything about the ATRTs
From
the French." Yeah.
Okay, I thought that's what you said. I was just like, am I mishearing? Or...
Nope. The French leaked everything for the next several waves for Legion.
Those
of
Frenchies.
Legion products. And the same person that leaked that said, by the way, it's Anakin and Maul coming.
They leak it here, they leak it there. Those Frenchies leak it everywhere.
I'd like to pause for a moment and end today's Legion moment to call out Mr. Pleb on the Discord server, who's decided rather than joining us is going to play BattleTech right now. So,
and he won't hear this until after the
that's
episode.
Right. Just know we see you, Mr. Pleb. You're just lucky we don't know what your real name is yet.
Anyway, I should know who that
back to
is.
the episode.
But anyway,
I feel like that's almost a Caleb name.
Yeah, that was my first
right?
thought.
It probably
Yeah.
is Caleb. We should text him.
I don't think his computer is good enough to play that game. That's a fairly new game. But,
I did think of one more bit of newsy-ish news.
oh,
Just a delightful moment that I saw, and I'm sure everyone's seen it at this point. So John Boyega recently Instagrammed or tweeted or something about his dislike of porgs.
Yes.
How much he dislikes
Oh,
them.
yes.
And so Lego went and pulled a Steven and sent him their largest porg set. This thing is like a foot and a half
massive.
tall. Yeah, it's like 20
it's-
inches
it's-
tall. It's an enormous porg that they just sent to John Boyega as a gift after they saw his tweet about how much he hates porgs. And I just thought that was the best thing ever. I was like, Lego, I knew I loved you for a reason.
I loved both things of that because I also hate porgs. So I was like, yes, thank you, John, for being reasonable and just saying that they're stupid. But also, I do love a good trolling. So I was like, Lego, well played.
I wonder though, did they send it to him already built?
I don't
and
know.
If not, that means he built it.
If they didn't, he took the time to build
Yeah.
it for that shot, yeah.
So-
Maybe he hired someone to do it. He can afford it.
Well, I mean, it was built and then it was strategically placed in his stairwell. You know, and it's like, if you hate porgs that much, you're taking an awful lot of care there,
Yeah.
sir.
Just hire a neighbor kid. You're like, look, here. I haven't opened this box. I've wiped the outside.
I'll
Pass
give you
this through the mail slot to
$200
you.
if you put this together.
Put this together for me. Wipe it down. I'll wipe it down when I get it. We can social distance build a porg.
What if they sent it to him unbuilt, but didn't tell him what it was? So he built it, gets halfway through.
Send it in like an unmarked brown box.
It was like the cover ripped off so he doesn't know what he's building.
Gets like halfway through it and goes,
Oh,
those
no.
mother-"
But he's too OCD. He has to finish.
Or he just thinks it's hilarious. I would have done that.
I would have thought it was hilarious.
There's a reason I've got Jenner So on my shelf.
So we recently moved, and my computer area is set up again. And yes, Stephen, my wife brought me this. She's like, "Here, you need to hang up your picture of your boyfriend." And there was Poe, because I swapped out the pictures. And I'm like, yes, he
so
does.
you swapped him out. Do you still have the Adam Driver one behind that?
Yeah, it's behind him.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's
No, I
Poe
didn't throw it
resting
away.
on Adam Driver's broad chest. I like that.
You know? I'm, that's gonna headcanon that.
Steamy. Yeah. Everybody
it's
was
up.
all about the Raylo, but no.
Oh, man.
It was about the polo.
Ever since that time, Kylo got in his head. He just couldn't get him out.
It's true. Oh, man.
It would have been a great name, though. Po Solo.
Oh, so low.
Po Solo. That'd be fun.
Posalo. Oh, man.
All right. I think that's all the newsy news, though.
I think...
Right, yeah.
Well, that was all the news, I believe.
Nope. That was
That was
the
the
last of the verbally spoken newsy news.
Well, thank heaven for that.
From now on, it'll be nothing but tags on Facebook.
That's right.
I hate you. I'm going to figure out how to undo that madness.
Maybe we should just unmod him from the Facebook group.
I don't think we
think you
can
can.
because
I'm
he
the
made
creator.
it. Yeah,
Were you the original creator?
he was. Yes, I don't think we can do that.
Yep.
I thought of that. I thought about preemptively removing him just in case.
You see what I have to put up with
Just
on
like
this
I
show.
once locked him out of the Twitter account so that he could not change things I said on Twitter. He didn't find out. So.
I don't remember that, yeah.
What did you do?
I went in and I changed the password behind his back so that he couldn't get into. It was when you were endorsing one of the you were endorsing Liam for president, or was it for on Critical Role?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is the official endorsement of a More Civilized podcast. And I was like, well, hold up now. You can't just do that. So I changed the official endorsement to the other one and then locked the Twitter account so that you couldn't get in.
Why Liam won? It's terrible. Sam should have won.
No, Liam should have won.
Yeah.
He did one.
You're wrong.
Liam was
speaking of
clearly the
Caleb.
best candidate of the two.
Looks like Caleb has just joined the server.
Caleb!
Hey, Chubbs! How you doing, bud?
Oh, I don't know. He's joined the overall server. I don't know if he's in the voice channel yet.
He's doing other things.
Oh,
That's
he
how he's
texted me
doing.
and says he needs permission. Maybe you have to drag him. Okay. Is that him?
Yep, that's him.
Hey, Chubbs!
welcome.
The fun has arrived.
This is our friend Caleb, for everybody who might not recognize that sultry voice.
Yes.
Who's with us a handful of episodes ago.
A couple of episodes,
Yeah,
a
for
while
the,
ago.
Yeah.
for the Star Wars RPG retrospective.
I guess that was last summer, wasn't it? Last fall.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a while.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
while.
we've been going for a
While
long
ago.
time, Ross, only to, careen off a cliff now.
But way to go.
You know,
Laverne and Shirley this right out.
I mean, there's so many different ways this could have gone. I mean, we could have just disappeared into the night.
Like
No
a
one-
fart in the wind,
Yes.
to quote Shawshank Redemption.
Might as well go out the same way you came in, kicking and screaming. Right?
That's right. We were adequate when we began, and we will go out adequate.
You know, if we were really thinking about it, that's what we should have done, so that then it could have
Improvement
become
is
a
for
meme,
suckers.
and people would have searched for us, and what happened to the more civilized guys?
You know, if I had any faith that that would happen, maybe
Where are we?
a couple months from now, someone goes, "Hey, wait a minute,
No, this
what
is
happened
gonna
to that podcast?"
this is gonna be like the Truman Show for every single one of our listeners. When it ends, they're all like, "Yeah, okay, that was so great. What a great ending." All right, let's see what else is on.
Yep.
Okay, Chubbs, did you finish Clone Wars Season 7?
No, I'm still in the middle of season 3.
Oh, that's right.
He's
Yeah, I
even further
remember
back
you-
than me.
Yeah.
That's right. It's getting you into the
It's-
Clone Wars era.
I
for
finally hit some stride where I was like, okay, these episodes are all right. We're getting there.
Yeah, that's where they start to grow their beard.
So we'll see. I'm slowly getting there. I mean, you would think with this, isolation stuff that I would have all this time to just sit and watch, but
Right.
nah.
I got it, Ross.
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, Chris and I are trying to have a conversation here off to the side, and Chris didn't get my
Ross
joke.
made a good joke. Chris
It
didn't
was a good
hear
joke,
it, and
yeah.
then Ross thought Chris didn't understand the joke.
Wasn't that the Mandalorian season as well? The Mandalorian arc season,
So, yeah.
season 3.
Season 3 is where she's introduced, and then
See?
4 is...
See,
Yeah. Anyway.
that's where they grew the beard.
This show. Okay, so I wanted to ask those of you who are here, what's been your favorite episode that we've done?
Assuming that's not presuming too much.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying the episode has to be good. It's just which one was your favorite.
Let's give them a minute to think about it, and then we
Yeah.
can give ours.
Yeah, what are ours?
So, my favorite one to record was probably still the first Valentine's episode.
That was
it
a
was
blast.
so silly, and so unexpected.
Since we're closing down, we should just put that.
We are gonna- yeah, we'll
up
just-
for
I think
everyone.
we'll put that up on the YouTube.
Nice
Yeah.
little bonus.
Yeah.
And that was just so funny. And a couple of comments that Chris's and Ross's wives made, I was like, you guys are so freaking funny. It was hilarious. I loved it. I don't think they made it into the final cut, so you guys are all going to get that soonish.
Yeah.
Even if they did, they didn't. make a lot of
We should
sense,
probably
but-
just put it out on the normal, like Podbean or whatever, and then we'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah, then
for
we
everything
roll it
else.
over to
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah,
It'll
that's a
go
good
with
idea.
it.
But it was really funny. Steven, you've listened to that by now, right?
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It was good. I mean, it had been so long since I had listened to the original one that I couldn't tell what was new and what
Oh, that's
wasn't.
fair.
Well, other than it was 3 times as long.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But yeah, Jess's handsy comment, I was dying. Oh man, that one was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed Barbie's review of episode 1,
That was delightful.
and wish we could have had more of that.
think as far as re-listening to for me, The Music Man is my favorite episode.
That was a really good one.
That was fun.
I haven't re-listened to many of our
Yeah, neither have I.
episodes.
Which is why it stands out, because it's one of the few I've
Yeah.
re-listened to in its entirety.
Ross, what was one of your favorites?
Well, still one that I always think about first is still Chris's first Last Jedi episode.
That's a good one.
That was a good time.
Just because it was just such a turnaround for me
Yeah.
and my thoughts on Last Jedi.
I also really enjoyed the Death in Storytelling two-parter episode. It was just an awesome analysis. I really enjoyed that.
I like talking about storytelling.
Yeah, that was a good one. Our David Prowse episode, I Am Your Father.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a fun one. Just watching the I Am Your Father documentary beforehand and stuff, it was just like, man, what a guy. What a really...
That was fun. I got to sit in and watch that with you guys. That
Oh, yeah,
documentary.
that's
That's right.
And I don't know if we had more fun just like learning about David Prowse or more fun like riffing the documentary.
Yeah, because
as it
I'd
evolved.
watched it before, and then I brought it to you guys and we watched it, so I didn't... You listeners don't understand how difficult it is to watch anything with Caleb. Like, The Ring for me is a comedy because of Caleb. Same with It, the original
Oh, that
two-part
was hilarious.
Watching that with Caleb, I could not stop laughing.
That moment when the bully actually calls him Chubbs,
Yeah.
that was the best.
Oh my god, kiss me, fat boy. Oh my gosh, that was funny. Oh,
Yeah.
good times.
I
Good times.
try.
Oh man.
Well, Ross stole mine. My favorite is definitely the first Last Jedi one. That's because it completely changed my outlook on that movie.
Chris is the MVP
But not,
here.
you know what? We don't need to buoy his ego anymore.
That is the
So
truth.
I'll just
That
bully
is
my own.
dangerous territory to be in there.
I'll just bully my own. My favorite episode was definitely the one I was in.
Oh, that was a spectacular
that was a good
episode.
That was pretty cool, actually.
That was
Learning
a
a
lot
lot of the origins for things that like came out of
No,
the
yeah, I
creation
think
of that book.
yeah.
That,
For
that
me,
was
at
stuff I
least, that
didn't
was
know.
the coolest part. Was just learning about like the history. I was like, holy crap, this is really cool. As far as just Star Wars first stuff. That was
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Droid Lives Matter.
Yep.
And your second favorite?
Yeah, as I say, maybe we should make that a rule.
Second favorite has got to be the one where you guys watched the
The
holiday special.
Yeah, I was
I
waiting
love
for
it.
that. Yep.
'Cause I like Misery, and I try to get you guys to watch Droids and Ewoks and all those other really bad
we
things that
probably
came out.
would have at some point
Oh yeah, it was
for like a
inevitable.
bonus, like Patreon bonus or something.
I think
hey.
it is down on our list.
We've dodged
Yeah.
that
to
bullet.
do it, but
Yeah, that was.
then-
I was not looking forward to that. That Christmas holiday special was so bad.
The Adventure of the Ewoks is a time-honored tale, and it will go down as one of the greats.
If they release Ewoks for Legion, I will watch that.
Other than
Please
that,
let
the
me
other
be
one I
there
liked
so that I
was,
can make it.
the other one
Go
I
ahead,
liked
Ryan.
was Tyler's history comparison, kind of where some of the lore of Star Wars borrows off of history. I like that.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that was a good time.
yeah,
The East India
yeah.
Trading Company
Oh, well, so
and the
because the one
Yeah,
that
we've
I
had
was
a couple
thinking
of
of
those.
was the one where I just shared
The
my
Desert
history
Fathers,
lecture.
yeah.
Oh, I was thinking the Hitler one, the Hitler like Rise of Hitler, Rise of Palpatine, mirroring each other. That was the one that I first thought of.
we've done that a few times. Can you be more
Yeah.
specific, Ryan?
So I guess maybe I haven't heard them both, so I'll have to go back and find the other one. But I think the one that was the East Indian Trading Company.
Oh, okay.
And there was one that you talked about religions too, I thought.
That was
Yeah.
the Desert Father, but prior to the Desert.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
it was a
that's right.
two-parter.
That was the Force, the religion
the
behind the
origins
Force.
of the Force in religion. Yeah, that was a fun episode to research for me. Honestly,
Oh, yeah,
I was
that was
like,
a blast.
I went down so many rabbit holes. It was delightful. Like, it was really cool. I spent probably like 4 hours just reading different things, and then I was like, I'd get off on some tangent, and I'm like, wow, that's so. Oh wait, no. Okay, that doesn't actually relate to Star Wars. I need to come back over here. Like, it was really cool. That was a lot of fun. Man, can't wait to do my history podcast.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're excited for the
Despite
future.
Chris's insistence and suggestions, I am going to go with Rejected Professor as the name.
Alrighty then.
It's your podcast.
I don't remember disagreeing with that.
Oh.
But I do kind of disagree with that, so I must have.
Unless you guys can come up with a better name. I
Naming
like
is
that.
hard.
It is.
Well, speaking of future things, we should talk about. Well, we've talked a little bit about the YouTube, but I also wanted to.
Wait, we didn't
propose-
get Steven's favorite episode.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't say my favorite.
My bad. Sorry, Steven.
Steven has no favorites.
Oh,
Steven doesn't play
No, I have
favorites.
Steven
I have
dislikes
two-
them all equally.
No, I have too many favorites. Is the thing. Oh no, yeah, I have like categories of favorites. Like pretty much any of the bracket episodes or ones where you guys tier things and kind of go back and forth. Like this is tier 1, this is tier 2. I liked all of those ones.
Those are a lot of fun to record.
Yeah, and then my other favorites would probably be any Chris led episodes. I don't know, anyone where he led and did the topics. I always found interesting.
Aw, shucks.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why we made a "I Am the Podcast" T-shirt with Chris on it. So
I still need to get one of those. How long are we keeping that store open?
that's a good question. I hadn't even thought
Well,
about
we
that.
can keep it open. I
Yeah.
mean,
Have my wife give
indefinitely.
me one for Father's Day.
There you go.
So if you like those kind of episodes, Steven, I know Ryan listens, I know I listen, and Ross listens. Chris does as well. But you should listen to Bacon Sale if you're not already.
I have.
I
listened.
tried listening to them and not my.
Steven, this whole podcast is a poor imitation of Bacon Sale. How can you
Yeah,
like
I know.
this podcast and not them?
Because this is Star Wars.
Yeah, and I listened to theirs, and it was the things they're talking about was like none of this applies to me or I find interesting.
Oh, Steven. I thought you were a man of taste.
And there's Star, and
He
there's Star
listens
Wars.
to us. Why would you think that?
That's
It's all right,
fair.
Steven. Bacon Cells, it's hit or miss for me also. So, but
No, there
all right.
in the 5 years Bacon Sale's been going, there have been like 2 episodes that I was like, eh. But other than that,
See, and it's just not my preferred kind of format. Just
I love it.
people
I
sitting
love
there talking
Bacon
about
Sale.
stuff can be okay, I guess. I can't deny that it has some merit, I guess, but I'm all
Oh,
about my
man.
scripted podcasts, so.
Well, there you go. Okay, Ross, you were going to go with something?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about just kind of reiterating some of the stuff we're going to do moving forward, like putting everything up on YouTube, just
Yeah.
to make sure in case people skip and jump around.
Yeah.
The podcast will exist going forward on YouTube
Yeah.
once we figure out how to do that.
Podbean here, we have to pay yearly fees, and we're not going to keep doing that once we're not here.
Yeah.
We're recording every week, so come August, I think, or September.
Yeah.
Come September.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll no longer be hosted on Podbean, but we will have them on YouTube, where you can listen to them for free.
Yep.
I wonder if there are any other free hosts that we could put stuff on over time.
We'll look into that.
That's good. Should have thought about that earlier. But also, with Caleb here, it reminded me about the idea to play Battlefront every so often.
Oh, yeah.
We need to do that. Because we can still get that organized through the Facebook page.
It is a little bit rough
Yep.
on
Because-
Steam compared to the Xbox.
Sure.
I
So-
played a little bit.
Because that is because that's video games. Ross can classify that as work related. Still make time for that.
Well, I mean, for that, I also don't have to edit it. And
I know.
we probably won't spend as long in a game of Battlefront as we do recording every couple of days.
Oh,
Well,
I don't know about that.
I seem to remember a few pretty long sessions. but
Yeah, exactly.
That was before the majority of us were parents and we all had adult
That is
jobbing
true.
to do and stuff. So
You know, and that actually might be a way to do things going forward. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over it, but now I have an idea. Because I can record and stream those to YouTube, that could be something to do going forward. This is us live brainstorming, everyone. Thanks. You know,
welcome to the think tank.
yeah, basically.
And in the future, I mean, the Facebook group is still staying up, and I'm always down. Like, if you guys want to hang out and like learn to play Armada or Legion, like I'm always down to teach people that. It's a great Star Wars game. I love it. I've got plenty enough for you to borrow if you don't have your own. I'm talking to you, Ryan.
Sure.
I was going to say something else, and now it just totally.
we'll still have the Facebook group available.
Yep.
That's not closing down.
I expect the memeage to continue.
Yes.
Which has been awesome this week, by the way.
Has been.
And the news sharage.
Who I can't remember who posted it today, but it's the Vader's no longer the most popular Star Wars character.
Oh, yeah.
Is this because of Obi-Wan?
That was Emily. We got a whole string of those from Emily, and yeah, those have been gold. I love them.
Died. That was so funny.
Duel of the Fates is the most important moment in Star Wars because of Obi-Wan.
He is obsessed with those memes right now.
I love them. Cinco de Mayo.
So good.
You turned her against me.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep. So good. Oh man.
Yeah, we'll still. I think you're going to keep the Twitter account active. Or?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's where I go to see Star Wars stuff now.
Yep.
I mean, my own personal Twitter does too, but you know.
You still gonna converse with yourself between your two accounts?
Probably less so. Less of that now. Now that we don't have a show to plug.
Send himself his own fan mail.
Hey,
why didn't you do that, actually?
write in my own fan mail.
Let's read some fan letters for this one. This one is from.
Foxy Fox on Twitter.
Yes.
Kyler's the best.
But I am, though. It's what the people say. We got the letter to prove it.
He is our most quoted on Facebook.
It's true.
That's for sure.
That is
Thanks
true.
to Abinadai.
Yeah, thanks Abinadai. I appreciate the Kyler love. There's not enough of it in this room, especially since Ross fired me from the podcast.
At least he gave you 2 weeks' notice.
That's true. He did. Oh, man. Oh, that was good. That was funny.
This is the way.
It is. No, this is the May. It's now a whole month-long holiday.
Mm.
Did you guys see that? Where it's like, I am the 7th, you know? I loved it. It's just great. It's fantastic.
I was surprised they stopped at 8. I was like, come on, Ninth Sisters of Dathomir. We can keep doing this.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you do for 8?
It's
8
going to be
8
hard
was
when
on
you get
there. I
into
forget what
like
it was,
8,
but-
the teens and stuff. That's going to be...
Yeah, the teens are...
Like 12 is going to be about as probably as high as you can go, but even so, now we've got this is the May, so the whole month is just covered, and I'm fine with that. So. What, Chris? It's getting hard to cram all of Star Wars into 3 days now.
Yeah. Especially, did we talk about the big Blu-ray box set, the big like 27-disc thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
A couple weeks ago.
I am less surprised by that now because we started watching. We decided that Dean is old enough to tackle Lord of the Rings, so we've been watching that a bit here and there. And I pulled out the massive extended edition Blu-ray set that I bought my wife a couple years back, and I pulled that out and I was like, "Wow, there are 5 discs per movie in here." Because there's 2 for each of the movies because those extended editions are enormous.
Yeah.
But then there is
Massive,
3
yes.
discs of bonus features per movie.
Yeah.
So that is a 15-disc Blu-ray set for 3 movies. And all of a sudden I was like, you know what? 27 for 9 movies doesn't seem that strange now.
Wow.
Did we ever hear if they're going to be the 4K or just Blu-ray or both?
I don't know.
Does anyone know?
All the Ks.
Yeah. I already own them all, so I'm just kind of, all the ones that I care about, obviously.
So yeah, I've got several different copies. Some in VHS form, and
Yeah, I've got those too.
I got rid of my VHSs.
I've been trying to find The
can't.
Last Jedi in VHS.
can't.
I can't find it anywhere.
oh man,
Complete my set. I mean, come on, Disney.
Oh, man. Well, this applies the least to Caleb, and the second least to Steven, and the most to Ryan. But, I mean, this can be even like an informal AMA, so if you guys have any questions for us or anything.
Caleb, any burning questions you've had ever since, like, middle school?
I don't want to say them live.
Whoa.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
We can tell the story about you throwing rocks at me because you were a douche.
Oh, you mean because you were a douche?
What? I was not.
That was a fun story. First time I met Kyler was on a scouting camp out, and I was just there because my dad was like, "We need someone older to come," so I was babysitting the youngins. And
By
Kyler was being
babysitting
a
the youngins,
douche.
he's
and I was
like a year
"Shut
older than
up."
us.
I know.
Checks out.
I know. I was so haughty. I was just like, shut up, Kyler. You're being a douche. Leave me alone. And you kept being a douche, so I threw a rock at your head. It was awesome.
That story checks out. To be fair, though, you had a douchey mullet, so, you know.
It's true. I was rocking the
An older
mullet
story,
back
but
in
it
the
checks
90s.
Oh, man.
Right. Any questions? Nope. That's good then.
Yep. Well, oh, and this Discord, by the way, is still going to be here, and we can like come and hang out if people want to or whatever.
Well, that'll be a good place to get voice chat if we're playing Battlefront or something.
Yeah. Yep.
So we talked last time, I think, already about what episodes we're going to miss not doing. Oh,
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
I think you did that on purpose.
I don't know.
So last time we talked about what episodes you guys missed out on because we're not going to record anymore because Ross fired us from the podcast. And I forgot to mention one that I was super excited for, and I was all bummed out. And then I remembered we had this episode left to record, so I get to do it here. Next year's Valentine's episode was going to be so much fun. We were going to do the dating game.
Oh, that's right.
So I was going to come up with a list, like I was going to get our 3 wives to, I was going to give them characters, you know, be like, okay, you're Leia, you're Jyn Erso, you're Ahsoka, whatever. And then, you know, have them kind of watch everything, or like if they, you know, so like somebody would have to be somebody like Christina or Carrie, probably.
I was going to say
be
Carrie's
Ahsoka or something
Carrie's
like
prepped
that.
on that, but
You know, and then, yeah, give somebody who, like, you know, like Jess could be Jyn or something like that, where there's almost
don't do
nothing.
that to her.
But anyway, I was going to give them.
She didn't like Rogue One anymore.
I
than
was
did.
going to give them a character to be, and then we were going to, or maybe I'd have to have one of my. Now that I think about this, I'd probably have to have like my wife come up with the character so that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because then we were going to ask them questions like it was the old dating game show. Be like, you know, what would you, you know, do on a date? And we had to then like pick who we were going to go on a date with. And then they would be like, "Oh, I'm, you know, Ahsoka Tano or whatever," and it would have been. I think it would have been pretty fun.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
And now you'll never get it ever, unless I can be like Ross. Come on, it's been over a year since you fired, or almost a year since you fired us. Let's do one episode.
You know, a couple of years from now, when Ross is working on a Star Wars game for, because EA is not the one doing that anymore, and everything is glorious in the universe. Then we'll start
in the
this back
darkest
up and be
timeline,
like,
Chris,
all
that
right,
will
Ross
never
has connections now, where we can we should pull out this podcast again.
That would be awesome. And
I don't think EA will ever let go of that, though.
Yeah,
no,
no,
I
heavens
think
no.
especially
you'll have to
after,
pry it from their cold undead
yeah.
fingers.
All right,
well-
we can do that.
Yeah. And I kind of think that Disney might have almost done it because they've really been behaving recently, which is odd for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but-
I randomly decided to install the original Plants vs Zombies on my phone the other day just because I was like, man, I'm feeling a little nostalgic. Let's kick back and play a little bit
you
of
saw
that.
how it turned into an ad fest.
Oh man, it's
Yeah.
horrible. I'm just like, yep, this is why we hate EA. Like, this is just unplayable. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That makes me sad because I was also feeling nostalgic and wanted to download that from
Well,
Steam. And
no, on Steam it's
Oh,
not.
okay.
On the desktop version is basically unchanged. At least last time I installed it, just like
Okay.
2 years ago. It's only the app that EA has
Oh.
bothered to cannibalize there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, EA is horrible.
It
That's
is.
definitely something we need to remind our audience of
Yeah.
in our final episode.
It's been a while
I was
since
just
we've done that.
Yep, EA is the worst.
I'm sensing a theme that runs through the whole podcast.
That's right.
The true purpose of this podcast is to proclaim the evilness that is EA.
Yep.
He's not wrong.
I mean, it's kind of something the world already knew, but
So wait, this makes me think of another good point of something we might have to do today. So Star Wars is a not really chiasmus, right?
Not
Does
anymore.
that mean we have to kind of reference our first episode?
no, we
this
actually
episode?
have to work through our entire catalog until we get back to
Go
our first
backwards?
episode.
Well, see, but that's why it's not really a chiasmus. You know, I think when we talked about it, it wasn't even, the originals weren't even really, they were kind of close, but not 100%. So, you know, we're adequate. We can just do the first episode. Watch the original trilogy.
Yep.
Got it.
Do
Okay.
love the original trilogy.
Check
The
that
Ridge
box.
Fridge. The Holy Trilogy.
The OG.
What are your feelings about Star Wars now, gentlemen, after a year and a half of doing this?
Ooh.
I thought I knew a lot before.
Yeah,
I've learned a lot more since we started.
definitely the case for me as well.
Which is saying something.
We were talking about this before we recorded. I'm excited to watch Star Wars again for just the enjoyment of watching Star Wars, instead of watching Star Wars with the little voice in the back of my head going, "Okay, now how can we turn this into an episode for the podcast?" It'll be nice. So,
That's fair.
I would still rather that Ross didn't fire me, but you know. I have to, Ross. I told you. This is going to be like a year.
I just find it funny. It's just the odd position of power to have set me in. When I took one for myself, it gives me another.
Do you want me to throw a rock at his head?
I know. I know, and now you've aborted it.
No. I mean, it's lived for a good long while. He's
I'm just killing younglings, apparently.
yeah.
Apparently.
Ross has fallen to the dark side. That's how we're ending here.
Well, we do know that Ross would follow the dark side's orders.
It's true.
It's true. Yep. Ross, he reads in the official holonet that the Jedi were evil, and well, I guess that's how it was.
He's the Cianery of our episode of our show.
He sure is. Yep.
Which I finished, by the way. I did finish Lost Stars the other day.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. Yeah. I mean, I got through it. I don't do that with most Star Wars books, so that's already a fair note of praise.
Yeah.
But,
I like it a lot.
yeah.
And did you do some of the other Claudia Gray ones as well?
I haven't touched any of her others.
Okay.
No, I tried the Chuck Wendig ones, and I tried a couple others. And, yeah, I'm not big into Star Wars books, generally speaking, but
No, if you're not going to read the Chuck Wendig Aftermath series, which I recommend you don't, go ahead and just read Bloodline. It's the Aftermath series that we should have gotten and only got one book. It's a much better Aftermath series.
Perfect.
Ugh, man.
What about you, Ross? What do you feel about Star Wars now?
Looking forward to the future. As far as games go, I'm still, cautiously optimistic for visual medias. But I mean, with the success of Fallen Order and them pushing forward that direction, I'm hoping we'll continue getting solid content. I just wish Disney would break apart that monopoly that EA has on Star Wars licenses.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially because EA will never make a real-time strategy. They just won't. And, because Fallen Order is basically Zelda gone Star Wars. It's a puzzle game. It's a giant, long puzzle game.
I mean, that's definitely a large part of it, but...
Oh, and the occasional combat, just like in Zelda?
You only saw a little bit of it, dude.
The combat is not that occasional.
That's great,
I will defer to Ross's comparisons of what this.
Either way,
video game is,
from what I saw of you playing it, I was like, okay, this is a puzzle game like Zelda, and I don't like that. So
I think it's a puzzle game more like God of War, but yeah.
That would be a much closer comparison. Although I haven't played the new God of War, so
Yeah, but
no, and I see what you're saying because it is EA and they're stupid about a lot of things.
They'll make shooter games and they'll make puzzle games
and sports games.
Yeah, sports games, and that's it.
I'd go for that. If EA wants to give us a good sports game,
Give us the football that we see playing in the one in like Dex's Diner or whatever it is.
Yeah.
No,
Give us
in
that game. I'll buy that
club.
game.
it's in the Want to Buy a Death Sticks.
Oh yeah,
yes,
there it is.
that
Yeah,
club.
that bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll play that game. That sounds cool.
Didn't EA do Pod Racer?
I think
they?
No,
Pod
that
Racer
was like
before
Sega.
that time.
That was
yeah.
like Sega Genesis.
No,
or something.
I think that was LucasArts. Maybe I haven't.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
but-
had that
but,
game. I love that game.
that was fun. Yeah,
But I mean, I believe because LucasArts was still publishing in partnership with people at the time.
yeah. I don't know.
Because I feel like it would be an EA title. Anyway, but yeah, I'd like to see Disney break that out into other developers, so we could get another Empire at War, so we could get something a little bit closer to Jedi Knight. I wouldn't be surprised if they would do something a little bit more like KOTOR, because
I would love some RPGs.
I don't know if they'd resurrect that though.
I don't know. I don't want them to touch KOTOR anymore. I just want them to give me something RPG-ish.
Yeah. Well, and you also have like the Old Republic MMO, which is surprisingly still going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see them do more with that. But looking forward to what they are doing. Well,
I've enjoyed doing this because it puts Star Wars back on my radar again. You know, it's like you go through new things pop up and are on your radar for a while, and it's like, oh, I really love this thing, and then you move on to another one. And Star Wars is one that I've always loved, but you know, it just had lost its front and center status for quite a while until we started doing this, and I was like, oh hey,
yeah.
let me delve back into the extended universe again, and this new extended universe, and so that's been a lot of fun to rekindle a bit of my old love and be like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it's also been it's been a huge shift in the amount of knowledge I have about movie making, and just because I've had just delving into most of my expertise in writing was all based around prose writing, because that's what I've been editing for 10 years, and that's what is my primary venue that I want to go into. And secondarily, I was focused on video games, and so movie making, I was like, well, I can still critique a story. Like, a story is a story, but I don't know much about the language of film and about how filmmakers try to achieve goals in a lot of things. And so I've ended up doing a ton of research on that over the last year and a half, and I've enjoyed the hell out of it. And yeah, it's definitely increased my knowledge of story just for having to pick apart why I'm liking something, why I'm not liking something, what something is doing, isn't doing here. And yeah, I've definitely appreciated what this podcast has done for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Are there any topics that we want to give some cliff notes to real quick?
I'm going to chime in and mention that Star Wars Pod Racer was done by Asper, LucasArts, and Pax Softnica.
Wow.
So that was not an EA.
Not EA? Okay.
That's why it was good.
I got an
That is why it's good, yes.
Yeah, for real.
I got a message from Neil this week after we announced that things were going, and he wanted us to comment on the redo of the Obi-Wan Vader fight from A New Hope.
Oh, that one.
Do you guys remember that one? It's
That's actually popped up in my YouTube feed just the other day.
Oh, did that?
Last night is what I mean by the other day.
Yeah. Have you seen this one, Kyler?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we watched that.
Yeah, where they even actually got I don't know if they did the whole deepfake thing where they put the faces on.
No, they didn't, but they did a decent job of makeup to make
make
him look vaguely.
Yeah.
They had the hood up so you couldn't see as much and avoided any direct face shots.
What did you guys think of it?
It's hard. I like it, but I also don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely messes with the flow of the original movie. So if you're watching this in context of the original movie, and then all of a sudden Obi-Wan and Vader are going at it like a couple of madmen, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's in the middle of that escape.
Yeah.
The rest of the
I
group is
mean,
escaping.
it definitely looks cool, and they did a great job on it. I don't know. I don't know, because if Lucas had decided this is one of the special edition changes I'm going to make, would I be okay with it? I probably would, but because it doesn't ultimately and I've talked about this before. My problems with the special edition changes, I only have problems with the ones that really change the story.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that bug me. You know, extending the Ewok dance party and showing other scenes in the galaxy, I'm okay with that. It doesn't really change the story. Adding in the Han and Jabba scene in episode 1 or episode 4, the first episode. I'm okay with that because it didn't change the story, because that was a part of the story from the beginning. We just didn't know it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Han shooting second, big problem. That changes the story.
Yes.
Right. That robs Han of vital badassery.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, with that, then what's your opinion on Hayden Christensen replacing the old actor?
And that, I think, changes the story.
Really?
Right? Yeah. Because again, that Hayden Christensen is not the good Jedi. It's not who is redeemed when Vader dies. Old Vader is the one who is redeemed when Vader dies.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and it's the one that Luke had the connection with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a particularly odd choice considering the fact that every other Force Ghost we see looks like they looked when they died.
Right,
Like
exactly.
which is why Luke is stuck with that awful haircut in Episode 9. Like, it just... sorry, man. Bummer. But
you don't see Luke going back to, like, Tatooine Luke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes no sense for that to occur. And same thing with adding the no when he throws Palpatine. Again, it feels like it's changing the story, where Vader is just like, no.
It makes it more melodramatic.
It does. Well,
and I don't like
also,
that.
like, as a parent, there have of young children who don't listen to their parents because, but I repeat myself. There have been times where you see a kid in danger or about to be in danger, right? Like I had a niece of mine was about to put her hand on a hot stove. Like my mom had opened the stove to like pull out bread and had turned her back to set the bread on the counter or on the oven with the oven door still open because there's still more loaves of bread that she's literally just a second away from getting, and my niece is going over there to put her hand on the thing. And I'm not yelling, no! When I do, I just see that and it's, holy crap, I gotta get you out of the way because you're about to burn your hand off. You know
I was
going
going
to
say, the word coming out of my mouth would not be no, and it would be a lot quicker.
Yeah. And so to have Vader be like, looking back and forth, and you can see that without a word, you can see that inner turmoil. Yeah. And then you can see the decision where he's like, nope, I've had enough. You're done. And he just like, there doesn't need to be that no there. It's so superfluous and literally only serves to cheapen the moment. Yeah.
Well, and I do feel like George's storytelling sensibilities in general tend towards the less subtle.
Yeah.
And when he, that was part of the strength of the original trilogy, is that he often had someone there to pull it back and go like, well, we don't want to be that on the nose, do we? Like, I mean, we're being very archetypal here. We're on the nose a lot, and that's fine. But rein it in a bit.
Yeah. And so back to the original question of adding that, if that had been added in, I'm not sure how I would feel about it, because it does look cooler. Mm-hmm. But is it becoming more on the nose somehow? Is it cheapening the scene? I don't know. I don't like it. It's like, at first, for the first bit of it, I remember when, for whatever reason, the first time I saw it, it was just a little, like, it was the first, 30 seconds of it or 45 seconds of it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
seem a bit long.
It does go a little
and
long.
I was like, okay, I can see this, but it keeps escalating in the, quote-unquote, coolness or how big they're going with it.
Yeah.
So at the beginning I was like, all right, that was tasteful, and it does make it feel a little more in sync with the prequels, so I get that. But then as it keeps going, I was just like, okay. And it's this thing where it's like storytelling doesn't stop because of action. I watched a video actually that was just amazing, where it was dissecting the opening action sequence of Casino Royale with Daniel Craig chasing down that free runner and just picking apart how this scene works and how it's giving you character and story, and it was beautiful, and I love it. And that's the sort of thing, is when you get into very forgettable story action scenes in like the Hobbit movies, for instance, they go through your eyes and then out your ears and they're gone. Like, nobody remembers anything in those because they're just muddled messes with no significance or storytelling whatsoever. And that's my problem with that. If that scene had been there, it's just like we're halting the story so that we can add a superfluous fight. Just it's cool, but it's hollow. Like, there's no reason for it. And I would rather just skip past that and continue on having some story than just have a action scene that doesn't have any bearing other than being like, well, other action scenes were bigger, so let's make this bigger.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it is awesome, and I do like it as a fan redo.
Oh yeah, and I'm amazed with what they did. Like, whew,
and that is definitely impressive. There's no question about that.
Yeah. But I think it should have been not as flamboyant, like you were saying. I mean, had it been something similar to what we see Vader doing in Rogue One, because there's a lot of acrobatics, and that's not something that we see from Vader or even from Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Especially at that age.
Yeah.
But had it been more slow and methodical, I mean, you could have done some cooler things than what they did originally, but there could be...
Well, if the first 40 seconds of it, before they started getting all acrobatic,
So I would have loved something like that, but... Other than that, this clip is just an awesome little fan retelling.
What about y'all on Discord? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I sat through it and I was like, that was a really cool fan-made film thing. Yep. I'm going to go back and watch the one that I like. I mean, the special effects and stuff were cool, and I liked it. And I was like, I could see, I understood like the ideas behind what they were doing. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. Vader has these cool, abilities, awesome. But I don't know. There's just something about the plainness of that fight because it's more than just their lightsabers hitting back and forth. Those two are trying to end a chapter in their story, in their life that has been bothering them since Obi-Wan met Anakin on the Naboo cruiser. When he's like, we picked up another pathetic life form, you know what I mean? And now we're going to this, I became your brother, and, now here's this, let's finish this fight we started, so many odd years ago. So for me, it wasn't like needing to be grandiose if you look at it in the whole spectrum of the story. And so, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I liked it. I'll watch it again. But for me, yeah, I still like the original
It
one.
occurred to me that makes them even more like brothers, right? First time he meets him, he's like, "Oh, another pathetic life form. Oh, you little brother, you're so irritating."
Right?
That older brother love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any questions from you guys in Discord? Anything you want us to talk about real quick? Any little tidbits or anything?
Okay, we have to play the RPG at some point and record it.
I think that's on you, Mr. Tabletop RPG Podcast.
I know.
Oh, hey, and you were supposed to come get your mics, by the way.
I know, I didn't.
But, yeah, between you and me, Caleb, we definitely have the minis to do it.
That's true.
That's very true.
I want to so bad. Like, I really, really hope that when FFG releases their RPG crowd back into the production, because they reorganize some stuff. I'm praying that they do just a freaking D20 system, because I'm like, I've got all these beautiful Legion minis that would be so fun to play D&D with, but I don't like their
I
stupid
doubt
dice
it, because
system.
they have a couple different RPG systems, and none of them are D20 systems.
I know. I know it's not going to happen. I just am hoping it does, because non-D20 systems are... So some D6 systems are okay as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the 3D6, the
that's
3-6 system that Planet Mercenaries
I
on
hate
is solid.
special symbol dice.
Oh, yeah.
Those drive me crazy, because now I've got to memorize 20 different combinations of everything.
Well, yeah, and it's
just
you don't need to
stupid.
reinvent the wheel. I mean, we all know how dice work, and we're good.
So I don't like that aspect of it. Everything else about their RPGs I really like, because I've looked through them and stuff, and all the different racial bonuses and stuff. I'm like, this looks pretty well balanced and fun and deep. And of course, there's a deep lore because it's Star Wars. I just don't like your dice system. It's stupid. And one of our listeners, he's going to listen to this, and he's going to remind me that he has adapted it to a D20 system, and I can't remember who it was that said that. And he's like, but he offered to let us have the PDFs that he's made for it and stuff. But I can't remember who it is. So message me again.
I love that. I love that. No, you know what? Sure. In the next couple weeks, we'll set this up and we'll get it going, because this needs to happen before this all dies on you guys. So.
And I've got some. Hey, Caleb, did you get any of the Rebel Trooper upgrades for Legion with the different aliens?
No, I didn't. I don't have those yet.
Okay.
In fact, I've been told that I can't buy more until I paint everything red.
Dang it, Becky.
Well, and I agreed with her. I was like, this is probably the best.
Yeah. Good to have wives keeping you on the straight and narrow.
Nope. I've taken a different approach. My wife just gets to do more cosplay now.
There you go.
Well, see, and to get those trade-offs, you have to have something that they want to splurge on.
Yep.
See, my wife is constantly like, "Oh, can I buy these clothes? Can I do this?" Like, I want to buy a game, and then she always wants me to buy the same thing, just so that. And she insists that it's not because she feels guilty, and I'm like, "You totally feel guilty." But I'm constantly just like, "No, I'm good. Like, we don't. It doesn't have to be a 1-to-1 thing. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll get something else
Yeah.
eventually."
Oh boy.
Are there other topics to cliff note on?
Keeping in mind that we're not necessarily the best Cliffs Noters.
Well, I do have one that I want to go over.
We'll do it.
Lay it on us.
Okay, Chris.
While you Discord people think of more.
Yeah. So, there's one comment that has irked me a couple of times.
Oh boy.
About Night Sister Marin from Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, that you feel. I feel like they prettied her up for that game.
Yeah.
Because she was a romantic interest.
Yes. Which, okay. So here's what we're going to do.
I can't wait for this argument to happen.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
The gun.
Because I stand by that. I just watched the episodes where Dooku has all the Night Sisters massacred, and I was watching going, none of you look like Marin.
See, here's the thing. Okay. I haven't put this into a list because I was going to do it some other time, but here we go.
Okay.
This is me unprepared.
Okay. I'm no more prepared, so.
Yeah. So, okay. First of all, pull up an image of the Night Sisters from Rebels or Clone Wars or anywhere that they'll come up. And I'll pull one up of Marin. And you guys at home can do the same thing. We can be somewhat interactive. So, while you're doing that, we'll talk about a couple of the game design reasons why you're wrong. So, first of all, one of your comments was that they had more flesh toned her skin to make her a little bit more appealing to regular flesh toned people. The reason why that is, because you're right, it is actually a warmer gray. There is more red in it, but it's because of a standard character practice called the subsurface scattering map. So what this does in games, when you've made a 3D character, and light from a game is hitting this character, all that the engine knows to do on its own is to just light the surface, just with whatever color the texture artist painted it, right?
Cool.
Subsurface scattering fakes the translucency of objects, so like candles or your skin in this case, which will change color. We as people are red-blooded, and so thinner portions on our bodies will turn red.
Yes.
Right? Fingertips are a little bit red, your nose, your ears, and all of that sort of thing. One thing that you don't really ever notice is that this subsurface scattering still affects cheeks, foreheads, everything. And so the reason why she toned up is because they gave her a standard human character subsurface scattering map. So it wasn't for make her a romantic interest.
Or
except she's clear. So I haven't played it. I didn't know who you're talking about. So I've looked.
No,
at her
hold on. Let
images
me
here.
qualify something. She definitely is a romantic interest. I'm not saying that.
Well,
I'm
saying just because it's not only that doesn't mean it can't also be that. That can also be a convenient byproduct of this. Is like, oh hey, that also makes her more visually appealing.
She definitely does not look like a Dathomiri Night Sister. That's for darn sure. She definitely looks more attractive than they do.
Sure. But
Can you pull up a picture of the Night Sisters from Clone Wars? Because my phone is having trouble.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was concept art.
Uh-huh.
So, the only visual representation of the Night Sisters I could find were those from Clone Wars and Rebels.
That's the one.
You'll notice as you look at literally everyone's costume in there, all of it is actually fairly sexualized. Now, it doesn't strike you as much as like a normal person wearing some of those outfits because they are so stylized.
Mm-hmm.
But if you'll notice, there's lots of sheer materials. There's lots of bare skin in a lot of those costumes. What are you looking at, Kyler? Okay.
All right, Ross, hit him back.
Yes. So you'll notice, with the exception of Mother Talzin, all of them are in something that's a little bit more, we would consider more revealing.
Sure.
Right?
Yep. I'll grab that.
And also, not even just revealing, but also, tight, skin tight, and all of the regular earmarks of things that are supposed to be in the sexy category. Mm-hmm. Now look at Marin. Mm-hmm. She is
She's fully dressed, which I appreciate.
Yeah, from the base of her jawline. Actually, the only skin you can see on her is from the jawline up. Mm-hmm. Her hairstyle is more regular, modern than what you would see off of Clone Wars.
Yes.
But also, none of this is supremely tight-fitting. It is a little more form-fitting with that belt, giving you, the figure of it. But it's not tight. It's not
waist.
Sexualized, I guess. Yeah, whatever. I'm sure Carrie is now disappointed in me.
Oh yeah, no. I've spent an enormous amount of time on fashion lately for various reasons.
I remember, I can't remember exactly what it was, but earlier today I was like, I should Google that, and I thought, no, I don't want the FBI looking at me. I should call Chris and have him Google this for me, because he's already being watched, for sure.
That is a true story.
And then my last point is general proportions. She doesn't have a super thin waist. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have a particularly large bust.
Yeah, but that's because they've done a good job with intense realism for this. Everything in Clone Wars is more stylized.
Yeah, sure.
and so which is where we get a lot of that. None of their proportions on here are particularly enormous either in the Clone Wars versions. Sorry, I'm having trouble.
I would argue some of them are a little bit more busty than what they should be, but that's
only
up to
in proportion
debate.
to the highly stylized thin waist.
Yeah,
The bust itself is.
I'm actually looking at these and thinking it's impressive how flat most of them are. Like they're very lean, athletic figures.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. So we've got here. So here are the things that make me say that. For one thing, most of their tattoos are far more facially obscuring.
Yeah.
Like you've got wide black lines that often create some almost grotesquerie, like the skull-like figures covering her mouth here, whereas Marin's are almost unnoticeable.
They are quite thin.
They're just thin little lines that make sure you can still see all of those very rounded, very soft,
very human
features, which you do not. Now, granted, again, part of this is the Clone Wars style. The Clone Wars style is very hard-edged. But even then, most of these women have pretty sharp noses, pretty sharp chins, even within a Clone Wars style, that makes them seem a little more harsh, a little more edge. And everything on Marin is softer, it is rounder. And again, there's some debate on how much of that is just a stylistic difference. But even then, I feel like they have gone out of... They could obviously, if you look at Marin's face, she is a very rounded, soft-faced, feminine figure. In the David Kibbe style of facial features and body features, she is a very soft, natural face. She is very rounded, very feminine, pushing towards more of the feminine rather than the angularity you get in women like, say, Keira Knightley, or I can't say more off the top of my head, but you get a lot more angular features in some women and softer features in other women. And Marin is definitely pushing towards that soft end, particularly for what we've seen from any other Night Sister. They could have made her a lot more sharp and dramatic in her appearance. They could have made her more gaunt. They could have made her more skeletal. They could have given her a sharper nose, more prominent cheekbones, all of that would have been very much in keeping with what we've seen of Night Sisters in the past.
They could have, but that would have broken with the rest of the pipeline.
No, I'm saying they could still be very realistically done. There are women out there that
you look at Tarkin, as far as the gaunt goes. Tarkin is, like, literally, Peter Cushing was a skeleton with some skin strapped to him.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, so, and he's realistic, obviously. He was a human. Real person.
But
the difference here is that every character, with the exception of the alien in Fallen Order, are real people. They've scanned real people. These are how these people actually look.
Sure. But the choice to make Marin look like that, it feels like they're doing it because she's a love interest. Especially we're taking out the tattoos. We're getting someone with softer facial features, someone who doesn't come across as
threatening,
as visually harsh or threatening. Yeah. Like, could you picture her playing someone like Ventress? Ever. And again, part of that's personality and everything, but just visually, could you see her done up and be like, yes, that's who they should cast as Ventress?
With someone as identifiable and known as Ventress, a named character, you would have to match the...
No, but even then, like, you would, the first thing you'd be trying to match is... You would have some very angular features. You would have a very pointy chin. You would have a very tight nose.
She couldn't even come up with Seventh Sister from Rebels, the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's Inquisitor. She wouldn't even be a good match for that, and she's far less angular than Ventress.
She's a very soft individual, and that's fine. She's soft, she's feminine, but it's unusual for the Night Sisters to have someone like that. We've never seen, and again, stylistic differences are always going to come into import there, but I do feel like a large part of the reason why they settled on this particular woman for this Night Sister is because they knew she was going to be a love interest. Get rid of those facial tattoos, soften her up, give her a normal hairstyle, not some of the weird extreme ones that we get from these sisters. Yeah. It seems like an effort to normalize the Night Sisters because, well, nobody's going to want a woman with hair like that.
The last point that I would make is then the trends of the gaming industry as a whole. This is actually an oddity for a leading lady to be as conservative in appearance as what she is. I mean, they could have totally gotten someone and sexied it up for this, and it wouldn't have been out of the ordinary.
That's true. Would it have worked for her personality?
Because
because I don't know anything about her personality. I just know that she's a love interest, and I saw her and I went, well, that's a Night Sister? Oh, she's a love interest. Well, that makes more sense now.
Initially, when you meet her, she comes off as trying to be everything you've seen here. She's like trying to be mini Talzin.
Yeah, she's got the full hooded and everything, and then she takes that off, and it's like, wait, what? Oh.
Well, she's full hooded, and she's also very like magic-y, right? She's like using a lot of the Night Sister stuff. She doesn't do that as much after she becomes your friend.
I will definitely allow that I don't have a strong case for that being the exclusive reason for her design. But I definitely do feel like it was a strong driving force in her design. Similar to why, I mean, and again, the same thing where I think that the reason that we never saw anything but Kerry Russell's eyes in episode 9 is because they were worried that, we can't have our leading man dating a woman the same age as him. Like, we don't want people to notice that. We have to pretend that she's like 20 years younger because that's what we're supposed to do in Hollywood. I personally, I don't have much more evidence other than they didn't show anything but her eyes, and I just thought that was weird. But it's a similar thing where I'm just like, I feel like there's a pretty strong case here for them deliberately trying to make Marin more physically attractive. Especially because from what I have seen of their clips, I feel like they are setting her up as a more vulnerable and less worldly person than Cal.
They're playing her as the naive. First time out in the big city. Which
her visually, that speaks to even more, is that it's like, we can't have someone who's got harsh lines in their face, who's got prominent cheekbones and everything, be naive and innocent. We got to make her soft. We got to make her well-rounded to fill that role, which, I mean, I get visual storytelling, you are going to lean into certain stylistic choices just because it's what your audience expects. I don't expect them to make her harsh just so that they can then go, ha, you thought she was going to be horrible, but really she's naive. It might have actually played better, though. I don't know. I haven't played the game, so.
I mean, I feel all the choices have been made just to kind of peg her as a normal individual and not.
Oh, that's fair. I could see that. I could see we're just like trying to go for not the shock value per se, but just the, hey, look, she's a Night Sister, but she's a normal person. No, that's fair. She does come across as normal.
Yeah.
But that's, I could also see, I also feel the argument's pretty solid there for, they did that because she's a romantic interest. I don't think they would have done that if she wasn't a romantic interest. If her part in that story was never to be a romantic interest, I think they would have gone with a more angular thing so that it could be all the more surprising when she is as vulnerable as she is.
Yeah. A lot of it would depend on what the next installment does, because as far as being a romantic interest, they kind of held hands for a minute.
Yeah,
there was no real romance in it other than that. So,
well, I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's literally the sexiest scene we've ever gotten in Star Wars is holding hands. But.
That's true. and Cal puts a lot of trust in her really oddly quickly. But other than that, there wasn't a romance there.
Oh, fair enough.
So it just depends on what they decide to do with it, which they probably will. I could see that happening because Disney in general is liking the Jedi that aren't as straight-laced as what they have been in the past, so we're pushing into that gray territory.
Well, I mean, that's the time to be doing it when there is no Jedi Order to keep him on the straight and narrow.
And he's only ever a Padawan before his master got killed. Yeah, he was just a young teenager.
I don't know, but at the same time, they keep forgetting that, Ahsoka's not a Jedi, and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Gary and I had that discussion actually through this last arc on Clone Wars. She's not a Jedi, so are they going to go after her?
I see that a lot with episode 9, where people are like, yeah, the Jedi coming to her, and I'm just like, Ahsoka's not a Jedi. I mean, she's not a Jedi.
Yeah.
She's not, and I thought about this, but clearly, I mean, all the salutes beforehand, they still think of her as
a commander.
Sure, but she doesn't.
Yeah. She doesn't.
And that's kind of the important part to me.
It is. But that's why when Order 66 happens, even though, they're like, technically she's not a Jedi, but in their hearts, they're like, yeah, but she is, though.
Yeah.
And that's why we're still going to go through with this.
And it depends on how harsh the coding of that chip was supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, was it supposed to say Knights of the Jedi Order is who you're supposed to kill, or was it just any Force user, which tends to be where everyone seems to kind of go? But
yeah, well, they also say in the episode that Sidious himself gave them specific orders to take down Maul and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is also true.
I may have missed that.
Yeah, they say that in the episode. Rex is like, hey guys, after Rex gets his chip out, he's like, hey guys, she's not a Jedi. Maybe we shouldn't kill her. And then JC's like, yeah, but you yourself told us Sidious gave us specific orders to kill her.
Oh, I don't remember
Boom.
that specifically.
Fact checked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In real
it's the very
time.
last episode when Rex is confronting Jesse while the droids are trying to hijack the ship for him to get out.
Yeah, I remember the part you're talking about. I just want to get the dialogue specifically, and I don't remember it well enough to.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so there. Thrilling debate for our final episode.
Yeah.
Riveting stuff.
Yeah. Ending on an awesome spoiler. Now I don't need to watch it. Awesome. I'm set.
You'll
Thanks,
forget it by the time you get
for
there.
getting me
Chubbs.
off of that hook.
It's so good.
I'll get
Wait,
there.
did we give any sort of spoiler there?
Well, yeah, Caleb hasn't seen. He's only in. He just barely.
But I
Why don't we
Yeah,
just
but
go
like-
through the whole thing in detail to make sure we
There
did?
you go.
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's see
like,
if I
I
really
figure,
want to watch
it's safe
this.
enough to assume that there's going to be clones coming after Ahsoka. I mean, Caleb, that wasn't a spoiler.
If you've been on the internet, you already knew that, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not
Internet?
responsible for your internet content, your internet consumption. Oh, anyway, well, it's been a little bit of a show already. I think it's
That's the last one. We can run long.
yeah.
That's about our average length. That's our target
Yeah.
length.
What are they going to do? Cancel us?
Hey, I got it.
Oh, I made
Did I-
myself sad.
Hey, did I get in late? Did you guys do Newsy News?
We did.
We did do Newsy News,
it.
yes.
Oh,
No,
good.
we didn't.
Okay.
We did regular news.
No, that's not
No.
how I remember it.
The
even
newsiest
missed
of the
it.
news, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
You even missed Kyler saying rumory rumor.
Oh,
And also me naming Steven the newsiest Steven.
Yeah, that's true.
beautiful.
Well, do you guys in Discord have any final thoughts you want to share with us or at us or
Are
any
you
shout
stalling, Kyler?
outs?
Is that what this is? You stalling?
I want to keep it going forever.
Aw.
I'm just mad I have to go find Star Wars content somewhere else.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'll be okay, I guess, because, I talk to you guys all the time, because, we're like friends. But the rest of the people out there,
Yep.
just going to lay this on thick for them.
You know, I'm not too worried
Disappointed.
about them. I think they'll be okay.
Ryan, anything you want to say? Any final farewells?
Well, thanks for having me on that one time and letting me call in today.
Thank you, man.
Dude, thanks for being
Appreciate
here.
you taking the time, traveling all this way.
Yeah, for real.
Sure.
Sounds like a nasty commute.
It was.
Well,
Yeah.
for me.
No, he lives up that way.
Yeah, but I'm
Ross knows he drives it every day now.
That's why, that's what I
Yeah.
was referencing.
Well, and I got it backwards because I was thinking about the commute because that's my commute to work, but that's what I was thinking about work. And I mean, he lives nearish there, so it's not
Many
about commute
things
for him.
got befuddled together.
Yeah,
in that.
yeah. There was a big slamming of ideas there. Sorry, my bad.
Steven, thank you for fact checking us all the time.
Yeah, for reals, man. That was a task to take on.
And thank you for your wonderful gifts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was telling him earlier, it's just like, yep, I got Jen Urso at home. I'm keeping her up on a shelf in a place of honor just because, man, I hate that movie, but every time I look at that, I'm like, that was awesome. I'm so glad Steven did that.
And just so you know, Steven, Django is my co-pilot. He sits here next to my desk.
Yep.
Where does Holdo sit, Kyler?
Well, she's been here on the shelf right by me every time we record
Uh-huh. Why is that, Kyler?
because she's here in the studio to watch over things.
Uh-huh. Why is she not with you at home, Kyler?
Because now I have Poe at home.
They didn't get along too well. It's probably best not to introduce her into that.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, but
My
she'll be
cousin
coming home
getting
now. And yeah, so Steven, anything you want to say? We sort of took over your final thoughts.
Nope. Some more Caleb now. I just gotta find somewhere else to listen to Star Wars content.
I'll see if I can find some good recommendations.
I like Dreadheads podcast.
I haven't listened to them.
I've listened to them once or twice just because they followed me.
I
So
just
was
thought
like,
it would
well,
be
hey.
funny to get on the official AMCP Twitter and say, hey, does anybody have any good recommendations for a Star Wars podcast?
Because our listeners are gonna need one.
Oh, sad day. That's a sad joke. I'm only laughing to keep from crying. No, I'm not. I'm okay. But I'm crying because I'm laughing too hard.
He'll keep it in until he gets home.
Yeah.
Drive home. We'll be like halfway there. Have to stop.
Big blubbering
Waterworks.
saws.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not crying,
Niagara
you're crying.
Falls.
Ross, any final words?
Just ones that I can't say quite yet.
Like what?
Ah, yeah,
Oh,
those
wow,
final
I mean,
words.
those
Your final
Yeah.
words.
I don't have any specific final words, no.
Okay, Chris. Anything?
Thank you all for listening. It has been a pleasure to sit here with both of you.
Dang it, Chris, now I look like an inconsiderate jerk.
Well, that's not my fault.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening, even though I didn't think about thanking you all just now. Chris, come on.
Well, he did fire us. It's not like he cares about the podcast.
You
or
know,
the
it's
listeners.
not often that I make people look like inconsiderate jerks by comparison. Like, this is a low moment for you, Ross.
It's the dark day.
Usually when I make people look like inconsiderate jerks, it's because there's been some sort of subterfuge and manipulation going on. But by comparison, this is a novel day.
Yeah, by straight comparison, that is pretty weird.
But no, thank you all for listening. It has been a pleasure to, I'm just amazed that anyone has, I still remember that first time when Kelsey showed up at our live thing and we were just like, we've got a fan that we don't know.
Yeah, this is someone that's not related to us.
Yeah, someone that we're not already friends with or acquaintances with. And, I don't think she was our very first, we had met Josh Tussler on Twitter by then. Yeah, so we had Josh. But when we actually met Kelsey, it was just like, whoa.
And she knew us by our voices.
Yeah. That was awesome.
That was really cool.
So I'm still just flattered that people have taken the time to listen to us all this time.
Very much like Chris and very unlike Ross, I am also grateful for all of you and just want to say thank you.
just gonna drive it home. Aren't you? Just
Like the stake you've driven through my heart, Ross.
just give it a good twist.
No, but seriously, thank you guys. When we started this podcast, as we've mentioned many times before, we really did not think
We didn't know
anybody
where this
gonna
was
listen.
going. Yeah,
I honestly was like, well, we've recorded 10 episodes. Hopefully we get 10 downloads.
And as a matter of fact, we were told at LTUE that if you're averaging 100 downloads per episode or per week, you're in the top 50% of podcasts, and hey, we're there.
And we have been for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, per week we've been there for a
per
while.
week we had here and there, but we have, if you average it out across all our episodes, we have averaged at least 100 per week.
And that was really surprising and impressive, and obviously doesn't happen without you guys. And so I just want to thank everybody who's listening, both live here in Discord and as well as later when this airs. It meant a lot. I had no idea how to do a podcast, didn't know how it was going to turn out. And to see it succeed for so long has meant a lot to me. It was a nice confidence boost to think, hey, maybe my idea for a history podcast will work,
Absolutely.
Maybe it won't. We'll see.
And thanks, Ross, for doing all the the vast majority of the technical work on this. Yes, thank you.
But
everything fell apart when Ross left.
Yeah, that is true.
I keep finding myself in those situations, which is...
You're integral. You're essential, Ross.
Yeah,
well, it means you're doing the right thing now. You're going to be integral in what you want to do.
That's true.
But I specifically want to shout out Josh Tussler out in Colorado. He was the first person to be like, holy crap, you guys are amazing on Twitter, and was really one of the first people outside of people related to us that was like, you guys are actually producing something that I want to consume, which is awesome.
Yep.
Also, shout out to Kelsey for that exact same story. When we did our live event, it was very much it'll probably just be us, but at least we'll have lots of pizza.
Yes.
And then Kelsey showed up, and not just by herself, she brought a friend who she'd
Mark,
introduced to the
Mark was
Mark,
great.
who she'd introduced to the podcast, which was really cool. And the fact that she knew us by our voices, I was very flattered.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out to Andrew coming to Rise of Skywalker with us, winning
Absolutely.
the contest.
Oh, yes.
And also, I have to extend an apology, because all the stuff we said that we were going to do for that completely flew out the window once Rise of Skywalker landed. Like, I didn't put in our reactions beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
And we even totally forgot to record post reactions in the theater like we were going to. So
Yeah, I do blame you. That
was another one. That's
You're the
on me.
responsible one. That's that's all on you.
But I also
I was there. I could give you those reactions real quick.
That's right.
They were fun. I was giggling. Kyler had his mouth was open and he was shaking his head. Chris was asleep.
I was asleep at one point. By the end of it, my mouth was open and various unrepeatable words were coming out
Yes,
of it.
yes,
I
that's
heard
true. I
some of
remember that
those,
too.
and I was
Like,
repeating them myself.
I could see them being mouthed.
That's
from
why I
across
was
the
giggling,
theater.
was
I
because
knew
of the
what they
words
were.
coming out of your mouth, Chris. Yep.
But I
And
also
then,
I also want to give a shout out and an apology to Neil Minson for ruining his birthday
Yeah, that's right.
with the announcement of our cancellation of this podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, Neil.
I'm sure he's had. I'm sure he's had worse birthdays. He's young yet.
Yeah.
He'll have worse.
But also shout out to Abinadai for
Yep.
being awesome. And my biggest fan, which makes me happy, with all of his Kyler quotes that he would share.
Yep.
So one
To
last
Emily
shout out
with all
Abinadai.
her excellent memeage.
Yep. To Timbalara down in Florida, holding down the fort down there. Ever since he found us, we have consistently had Florida downloads, which makes me happy. And then, of course, Rural Farm Boy out in Pennsylvania, who would regularly give us a shout out on Twitter, along with the other multitude of Star Wars podcasts he listened to. It's a lot. But that's appreciated. And I cannot remember how to pronounce his name, but our Spanish listener, who I apparently pronounced his name right the first time, and I
Never
can't remember
again.
how to do it again. So, you know who you are.
I'd say
Thanks,
we
buddy.
should go back and re-listen to that episode, but it's not like we're doing this again.
Yeah, that is true.
I can pull it up right here. I mean, we could listen
I
to
don't
the
remember which
right now.
That would
episode
take
it
a
was.
And that would also entail re-listening to us. I mean,
Yeah.
ugh.
And lest we forget, and also to show up Ross one more time, shout out to Lindsay, our literal, actual first fan
It's true.
outside of the three of us.
Yes.
And her awesome support and evangelizing of this podcast.
And she
That-
bought a shirt.
She bought a shirt.
The only shirt
Yep.
we've ever sold.
Yep, exactly.
And fact-checking our information on ourselves. That's been
Yep,
handy.
that is true. But without her telling everyone she knew, it seemed, about this podcast, I don't think it would have taken off as quickly as it did.
Yeah.
Not to say that it took off quickly, it just wouldn't have taken off as quickly as
quickly,
it did.
yeah.
And that's appreciated.
Yes.
So, and to everyone else who I didn't mention by name, I mean, you all contributed, and that means a lot to me. I'm not just saying that to be sappy; it really does. This project meant a lot to me personally. I love Star Wars a lot, and to see this idea that I'd been chewing on for years and years succeed for, well, not years and years, because Ross fired us from the podcast, but
Year and a half is technically plural.
it's true. But not years and years.
We're almost at 3/4 of a year.
Yep.
It's true. 3/4.
But we won't even make it to 2 because you fired us from the podcast.
Hey, at least we made over 100 episodes with the Nerf
Technically,
Nuggets.
With
if
the
we
Nerf
include the Nerf
Nuggets.
Nuggets, yes.
I
But
realized
not
that the other day.
100 episodes.
6 short.
Yep. Dang it.
Well, you can combine several of those Nerf Nuggets. I mean, some of them were pretty long.
Yeah, but they don't have episode in front of their name.
I'm
Ross.
claiming 100 episodes in time.
Oh yeah,
Length.
yeah. I mean, we could have made 2 or 3 episodes out of my Last Jedi episodes, each of the Last Jedi episodes alone. So
Yeah. But anyway,
He's
it really does mean
technically
a lot, and I want to thank all of you for being on this journey with us. And
Absolutely.
our backlog will always be there if you started late and didn't feel like
Yeah.
going back.
or if
now's
you've
the time to
somehow
do
found
so.
us since this already shut down, thanks
Yeah.
for listening.
Thanks for listening after the fact. It's true.
And listeners, just for future reference, just remember to keep an eye out for Arbitrary Games,
Yes.
which was where you will be able to find Ross and my work
Yeah, you
in
will.
the future.
And you'll be able to find us on Twitter.
Primarily
myself.
Ross's work, because as with this endeavor, I am taking the backseat, easy side of things. And you can find my work at writerinthehat.com. And again, anything these guys post are going to have a link on there.
You can find me on Twitter at Random Paladin personally, which all that
Yeah.
game stuff will be posted there too. So
Yep, I'm on there at Itinerant Backstreet. Kyler's going to still be on there at More Civilized.
Yep. Hey, listeners. Until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
that's the way it's supposed to end, right there.
Adequate it is.
Adequately, yes.
I'm Anna Graves, and thank you for listening to a more civilized podcast.
I wanted to leave on a hopeful note.
You know, there could be a next time.
Could be.
Well, and if things go well, okay, Ryan, here I'm swearing you to silence again. If things go well, and then I drop the job,
The big boy job.
the regular day job, and then go full time. That would probably give me plenty of time to come back and do the podcast again. So,
Yep.
We will see.
yeah, we'll let you all know.
Thank each and every one of you, though,
Yeah.
very much for being here today.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Kind of like our first live episode, or first live event. I was really worried no one would show up.
I will leave this chat right now.
What?
I changed Steven's nickname to the newsiest Steven.
You're the worst.
That's what happens when you give Ross the unlimited power.
Right. I feel like I was responsible with it up until now.
Hey!
Hey!
I saw you posting on the Facebook page, Steven. I was like, you know what? He's posting. He better be here.
It was until you fired us.
Yeah, it's safer now.
He didn't fire us. He hired me.
That's true.
That's true.
He just fired you.
Thanks for that. So, what I want to do, you people in Discord, is do you guys want to do, you guys in Discord, do you want to do the May the Force be with you, or do you want to do the Always?
I think it's easier to chime everyone in on the always. So if you want to lead us in on the May the Force be with you, and then we'll do the rest of us will do the always.
Makes me so sad to say this for the last time.
Just remember, don't say until next time, May the Force be with you.
Yep. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. It hurts so much.
There's that pain Ryan was craving.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, I kind of want to say it anyway, in case we meet out in the wild.
Well, and especially as we were getting closer to 7 o'clock tonight, I was like, wow, that's
It's an empty Discord server.
that was almost a bust. I was worried.
Yeah, sorry, I was cooking steaks.
You know, that's a good choice. Good use of time.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate it.
Yep, I'll get in touch with you guys. We'll set up a time and we'll shoot some bad guys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll some dice and all that jazz.
Cool.
All right, well, I gotta go. So
We'll see you.
Yeah, see ya.